So to review, we've talked about the first two heads of the three-headed dragon that prevents us from achieving our goals: fear and procrastination. Now let's examine the third head of this evil dragon that prevents us from achieving our goals: defiant independence. This is the part of us that doesn't reach out for help, that tries to figure out things without turning to people who have done it before. Keep in mind, no matter what your dream is, unless you are in the rarefied world of Bill Gates or Steve Jobs looking to put a dent in the universe, as Steve Jobs would say, most likely what you want to do, someone's done before and has done something similar in which you can apply those lessons to your dream or goal. You know, growing up as an independent only child, this is a lesson that took me almost 20 years to learn. I now know that if you want to be truly successful, you need to seek assistance, learn from others, and leverage their experience. In other words, don't reinvent the wheel. Some of the reasons we may not seek help is the fear that we'll be rejected, or that somebody will think we're stupid by asking questions, or because we lack confidence in ourselves. And an interesting show to watch is Oprah's Masterclass, where she interviews successful people like musicians and actors. What you will find is that 99% of them had lives just like us growing up, or maybe much worse. Yet, they overcome the obstacles in front of them and ignored those who said they couldn't do it. If you don't like Oprah, then read biographies of successful people, and you will find more often than not that they came from humble beginnings, and their success was not overnight. They had lots of failures, and it was a result of a lot of hard work and risk-taking combined with an overwhelming belief in themselves that led to their success. In my opinion, the number one common trait among everyone who has reached what they define for themselves as success is persistence. Others might call it grit. This is the ability to not give up when times get tough and we're tired. It's the ability to determine if we're on the right track, and if we are, that we need to put off instant gratification for long-term success. All too often, people quit pursuing their dreams just before they're about to touch them. It's like a NASCAR driver leading the Daytona 500, going into the last lap and then running out of gas and finishing 26th. So to defeat the dragon head of defiant independence, we need to reach out to others who can help us along the way. And whether they're professional service providers, coaches and consultants, or a network of fellow business owners such as a chamber of commerce or a trade organization, or a friend or mentor, both the Greater Fort Myers Chamber of Commerce and the Lee County Bar Association were key players in my success in expanding my practice in Fort Myers. And I've also had my own business coach to help me, and a number of attorneys who have acted as mentors over the years. I also realized that if the greatest athletes in the world, like Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan, need a coach or direction along the way, why wouldn't I? So the ultimate weapon that we can use to slay this three-headed dragon that is looking to devour our dreams is courage. When it comes to defining courage, one of my favorite quotes is from John Wayne, who said, "Courage is when somebody is scared to death, but saddles up anyway." In business or our personal lives, we can build up our courage and our belief in ourselves based upon our past experience. Think about how you've learned things in the past you knew nothing about, how you achieved things, overcome personal challenges. You know deep down inside you have the ability. You need to focus on your successes in the past to give you the confidence and courage that you can do what it takes to learn what you need to learn, to put in the effort and hard work that it will take to reach your dreams. And as your courage builds through your actions, each action takes you one step closer to slaying the dragon of fear, procrastination, and independence, and brings you closer to achieving your dreams. So the three things you need to remember to defeat your biggest enemy, your mind, are: 1, The fears and doubt in your mind are really just thoughts designed to protect your ego and not to protect your life. 2, resistance and procrastination created by your doubts and fears are defeated by simply taking action and building momentum. And 3, you can overcome defiant independence by taking action to seek help from others, leverage their knowledge and experience, and don't try to reinvent the wheel. So now, let me share with you my system for getting past fears, for taking action, and achieving your goals and eventually your dreams. As you will see, the best part of this system is that it's not overwhelming and very simple to use. By taking one step at a time, you will build momentum. You will build confidence so that instead of saying next year, I'll take action to change my business or my life, your next year starts right now. Now, one of the keys to the system that distinguishes it from other goal-setting systems is that for success, I found you need to focus just on one or possibly 2 goals at a time. While you may have long-range goals, this system is for achieving concrete building blocks that can be achieved within 1 to 12 months. So step 1, identify the goal and put it in writing with as much detail as possible. For example, it can't just be like, I want to increase profits, or I want more customers, or I want to write a book. It must be very specific so that the goal can be identified and measured by anyone. For example, I want to increase my gross income by $10,000 a month so that I can get an additional $4,000 a month in profits. Or I want to get 5 new clients a month that will spend a minimum of $1,000. Or I want to write a book on X topic and it will be completed in 6 months. So keep in mind, when you set a goal, it's a goal that anyone can understand and measure its achievement. Once you've identified the goal, the real hard work begins with step 2. Now, step 2 is write down everything you can think of that is necessary to achieve that goal. In step 2, either on a pad or a spiral-bound notebook, you're going to write everything that you can think of that is necessary to achieve that goal. So, for example, if your goal was to increase your profits by a certain dollar amount, and that means you're going to do something such as open up a separate office location, then you need to write down everything that is necessary to open up that new location. For example, find the location, sign a lease, get new letterhead and new business cards, apply for any licenses that you need. Will you need a new website? Will you need to hire employees? Will you need to get furniture? Will you need to get new signage? Will you need to sign up for utilities? And of course, it's more than just build it and they will come. You'll need to market it. So how are you going to market? That's a topic for a whole another show, but write all those things down. Are you going to join the local Chamber of Commerce, take out ads in newspapers? Are you going to advertise on TV or the radio? Are you going to take some action to build a new list? Are you going to speak to groups, market through direct mail, maybe create a separate website focused and optimized on that area? Are you going to use social media to promote yourself in the area? The key, again, is to focus, to avoid overwhelm and the resulting paralysis in taking action. Step 3, come up with a budget. If you're an existing business, you should know what your operating costs are. However, with any expansion, you're going to have additional costs. Do you know what they are? Whether it's personnel, whether it's supplies, advertising costs, and something that people may not think of is time cost. Do you have the time? Do other employees have the time? What do you have to take off of their plate, and who will do that? You can have the best plan in the world, but you need the manpower to implement it. Write down every cost. Set a budget for that project and goal, and identify where the funds are coming from. For example, is it a bank loan, personal funds, private financing? Commit what you're willing to spend to try this, and more importantly, you have to make a decision that once you reach that spending limit and you've not reached your goal, you need to then determine whether you're going in the right direction. Although it may be taking you longer to achieve your goal, You don't want to go past that amount you budgeted unless success is reasonably in reach financially and you are not acting foolishly. This is where having a third party to work with you as a coach is vital because we can always BS ourselves. It's tougher when someone else is asking you the hard questions that you don't want to ask yourself and answer. There's a lot of truth in Kenny Rogers' line from The Gambler that you have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. So many people that I see in my bankruptcy practice are people who just hung on too long without assistance that resulted in financial ruin. To avoid bankruptcy, you need to set a dollar amount of what you're willing to risk. And when you hit that, that's when you need to consider stopping. This is a concept that's examined in great detail in Seth Godin's book, The Dip. I recommend that you take a look at that. Step 4, assign the tasks to the responsible parties. Next, you have to look at each of the tasks and assign responsibility to a person on your team to complete that task. If you're just starting out, you may have to do all the tasks, but most likely if you want to be successful, you need to do only the tasks that you're good at and assign tasks even to third parties to handle. And those tasks may be in their specialty, whether it's web design, accounting, or payroll, for example. Step 5, communicating your goals to your employees to create a team environment. This was a real game changer for me. It comes down to creating a team environment. And you begin to create that team environment by 1, communicating the goals to your employees, 2, by assigning them responsibilities. Picture a football team and you're the head coach. You're responsible for different players, from the quarterback to the linemen, the running backs, wide receivers, and linebackers. Each person has a particular role, and in order for the entire team to be successful, everyone has to work together as a team. So the 3 steps to create the team environment are: 1, tell the whole company or team the game plan for achieving the goal. 2, tell them why you're doing this, whether it's to increase profits, increase productivity, or long-term financial stability, for example. And 3, explain to each individual why their role is so important to the overall success of achieving the goal and how they are important to your company so they have buy-in for the goal. Using the football analogy again, probably the most underappreciated player on a football team is the offensive lineman. But if the left offensive tackle fails to make his block on a play, the quarterback doesn't have enough time to throw the well-timed pass to the wide receiver. The same is true for your company. Every person in your organization serving a vital role must know what it is in order for success. If they're not, then your first question you must ask yourself before your next business day: why are they there? Now, the hidden bonus that you get when you share all of this with your staff and create this team environment, you're the head coach. You've created accountability for you because you stated what the goals are and you assigned the role, so you better have picked the right person for the right role. Step 6, measure your progress. Remember what I said earlier, that the plan must be measurable. So this is where step 6 comes in. You need to measure your progress on a daily basis and track whether you're meeting your milestones or not. If you're not, then take a step back to determine what you need to do to adjust. It's basically like the 1-loss record for your team, and you're going to have to accept that setbacks are part of being in business. The key is learning from the setbacks to improve how you move forward. And finally, step 7, create an incentive program to ensure buy-in from your entire team. This is the final key to the 7-step process I found changed the whole environment and was vital for me to get buy-in from my entire staff. It was creating an incentive program where we share the wealth and share the success. Using the example of expanding my office, the whole idea of expanding the geographic scope of my practice was to increase income. At the same time, I was not adding personnel, so I was generating more work for my existing staff, at least to start. To get buy-in from them, I had to also sweeten the pot for them as well. I couldn't just say, hey, I'm looking for you to do more work for nothing extra, but make more money for me. Therefore, I came up with a system that if we met certain milestones each month, they would get a monetary bonus. And again, to use the football analogy, every team starts off wanting to win the Super Bowl. If the goal was just to get individual records and milestones, you would not have a cohesive team necessary to get it together to win the Super Bowl. The same is true for your business. By creating an incentive plan related to a specific goal, not just a year-end performance review, sharing the wealth improves the chances of success because of the resulting buy-in you'll get from your team members. And keep in mind, it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary all the time. It could be a lunch, a day off, or even Gene Day, depending upon the milestone. Part and parcel with having these incentives is also keeping score and letting them know where they are with the incentives. Also, I believe it should be team goals. Everyone shares in the success or no one does. It adds a little peer pressure as well. I can tell you that by putting these incentives in a place, it has increased one area of my practice in its productivity by 300%. This can be a game-changing process for you.